Tata Ruang in spatial planning. So you can see from the names already and the people where they are coming from. Well, it's an integration of spatial planning, water and food security. I am also very curious to get to know you a little bit. So I understand that there are people from the architecture department and the civil engineering department. So who is from architecture? No, raise your hand if you're from architecture. Oh, not too many. How about civil engineering? Wow. So we need more architects. I can already water resources planning, spatial planning, and also food security. But yeah, the architects are more involved in the very detailed spatial planning very often. So what am I going to be talking about? I'm going to explain what is one of the big challenges in here in Indonesia, especially on the island of Java. It used to be vegetated. Part of it was even sawah. That has been already removed. This is 2004. Now most of the area is blue already, and even here it's beginning to disappear. Here it's already starting to disappear. So what you see is that in a relatively short amount of time, a lot of urbanization has taken place. Now, I think many of you know that, because maybe 20 years ago, Jakarta was much smaller and a lot less people. Well, today, it's very interesting. If we look at the whole urban region, so an interesting definition. What is a city? Well, a city 11. Now, let's see what happens if we start animating. Well, so this is 40 years growth, but very rapidly, of course. Let's do it a couple of times. Can you see that Jakarta is more or less doubling? And look at Bandung, eh? Bandung is also growing very rapidly. So yeah, this is sort of scary, which is why we always call these movies the scary movies. And okay, they're not as scary as some movies that you can see in the theater, but if you think about what is going to happen with this area, it is scary. Because how is the traffic jam in 20 years' time if it's going to look like that? I mean, now it's already impossible in some parts of the day to get from Jakarta to Bandung. I sometimes have to go there. And I'm always stuck in Bekasi for 1 hour or even more. Maybe with a high-speed rail is better, if we ever get it. So yeah, because people migrate to areas where there are jobs. Well, around Jakarta there are more jobs, so people always come here. But this is not the only place that's growing. And to show you, so this is the area around Surabaya, and Kediri, Yogyakarta, Semarang, Magelang. This is Semarang, Yogyakarta, and here a lot of development also. And along the roads you see a lot of development. This is typical the kind of development we see in Indonesia. That the growth of the cities, it follows the road system. So the more roads that are being built, the more urbanization will follow the roads. So the some land use change statistics. Recently we've been working also on Sumatra and actually also on Sulawesi. So we have made spatial models for Java, Sumatra and Sulawesi. And there are big differences. Because in Java, you start with 18% urban area. Now, if you remember that probably 30% of Java is actually so steep from the mountains that you cannot use it for everything. It's good for forests, it's good for nature reserve, but that means that 18% is actually quite a lot. For example, in Europe, the Netherlands has the highest concentration of urban area, but it's only 14%. It's already less than Java. But look at 40 years' time. It will, if City. So I just used the Bahasa version, but I'll still present in English. Anyway, so on the left-hand side, we have the drivers of the urbanization. First of all, the population is growing. It's one of the important drivers. It's not so bad. It's 1% at the moment, more or less. It's not too bad. But another one driving the urban area is the size of the household. 25 years ago, the household size, well, not unusual, 10. Papa, mama, and lots of children. And also, of course, grandpa, grandma. So yeah, big families. Nowadays, already the average for Java is around 4. So it has changed rapidly in just a short period. It will continue to decline, but probably like in Europe, it will stabilize around between 2.5 and 3. That is what is happening in Europe. But this reduction of the household size